Well, welcome to my channel. As you've been watching, we've been moving quite along with the Catalina Restore project. So on this video, we're going to focus in on the tow rail a little bit and some of the stuff that goes along with that, like the railings, lifelines, and we also finish up across the cockpit on the railings on each side. So hope you enjoy. Next few videos will be some parts and pieces of this, just little minor things that you have to do to get done. So enjoy. Well, started on the tow rail, got everything stripped off the front here. So we got that all sanded down, got 2 layers of gel coat off, and then we got 2 coats of primer on it. So we'll see what happens. We'll wet sand tomorrow, put our first coat of white on there hopefully. But that's the front. Inside wasn't too bad, wasn't too cracked or anything, so pretty happy with that. Got to cut those 2 little bolts off, they wouldn't come off, so that always happens, but looking pretty good. We will reinforce this. There's no reinforcement underneath here, so I'm gonna find me a 1/4 inch stainless steel plate and cut it to fit down inside all of this whole section here. I think might be a little overkill, I don't know, but we got plenty of that around here. But I think I like that idea better than wood, because wood just compresses and moves too much. That stainless steel won't go anywhere. Well, I started the tow rail. I got 2 coats of primer on there and then a coat of white. Of course, here's what the old tow rail looks like. So there's the new tow rail painted on there. So I did 2 coats of primer and then wet sanded it with 220, and then got 1 coat brushed on. So probably gonna get 1 more coat, and then once that's done, we'll be able to do the gray. But it's looking good. It's coming right along. So I just put in my new backer board underneath the bow. I had some 1-inch teak, so I cut me a nice big triangle piece to go in there. Filled it with thickened epoxy and then screwed it up nice and tight. And in fact, it really kind of took, there was a little hump right here. It took that hump out a little bit. So now not only is it epoxied with that 1-inch teak in there, when we put all that back, that should be good and hard. And I also got some stainless steel brackets to go from the nose piece down to here to help anything from pulling up and out. You can buy the nose piece with the bracket already hooked to it, but my nose piece is good. So I got some stainless steel brackets that I can go from there to there. And that'll save a little bit of money and just sturdy it up just a little bit more. But that'll be set up, and tomorrow we'll grind those off and start putting some hardware on. 2 teak piece epoxied in there and screwed up tight. And so when I do that nose piece, I'm going to take the stainless steel, I'm going to go from here and take it down to here. And since this is marine grade stainless steel, it should give us some extra protection. I mean, this is the original. Without this, it was just the fiberglass and it never pulled loose. So adding this and adding this bracket will make it that much stronger. And so I don't see that pulling loose anytime soon. I mean, the washers lasted 34 years, so with this backer board and this stainless steel bracket from there to there, I think she's going to hold very nicely. So we use the West System epoxy. What is it? 105 and 104 hardener, and then we added this 405 silicone to make it up into them like what they call a peanut butter. And so there it is there. That's the peanut butter that we put between the blocker and the fiberglass on the boat. So we'll come back with some laminating epoxy and fiberglass the back of the blocker box. But that's what we use to make our peanut butter or our glue. You might want to see underneath. So there's that new backer board. There's all of our bolts, and then there's that bracket I put in there. And that thing is in there tight. It was about a 1/4 inch short, but with that longer nut, by the time I tightened everything up, it put a lot of tension on it. So that thing is in there good and tight. So we got a light to do and 2 cleats, and then we're done with the bow. So there's our bow sprit cleaned up. Bow railing, whatever you want to call it. So we still got to do the back, but we're going to let the front set up, and then once the front sets up, then we'll flex it and do the back. Alright, so there's my nose piece on. We're starting to put the bow rail on. I got those 2 on, lightly tightened down, so we'll clean those up. And then we're going to let those set up, and then I'll anchor these tomorrow. I don't want to flex this flex any of this until tomorrow. We can flex it, but I want this front to set up nice and tight. So then all we got to do is we'll clean that up and we'll go from there. But she's getting there. I'll give you another shot from there. Now you're seeing all this tape down here, so you know what that means. Somebody's been painting. So this is going to be blinding. But there's our new cockpit rail. Remember, they used to be all gummed up with a whole bunch of cleats and everything up there, and this was all textured. So this is now grounded down smooth to hide everything. We left the texture there and the texture there on both sides. And we got some of the cockpit on the inside to go. So we got just the faces and then these two back hatches. And we will be done. So coming along. It's drying. The spot here where I had the backer board underneath was all rotten. So maybe you see the epoxy oozing up through the holes in the two screws. What I did was make me a pattern out of some teak that I had. And then I made me some epoxy peanut butter, which is epoxy and that silica powder stuff. And you fill it up and slide underneath here. And so now you'll see there's our filler piece that we put in there for now. That's our new black backer block. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to laminate fiberglass across all of that and tie it in over here and over here, because just by that it could rip out. I don't think it would, but we're going to tie it into the boat a little more with some fiberglass. Probably about 4 layers of fiberglass laminated onto that, and crossing over to the boat should fix it. But there's our patch for our backer board. We have to do the same thing on the other side, but not quite as extensive. That other side is good, it just needs to be fiberglassed in. They never fiberglassed it in. It looked like they just used some kind of putty on it and just scooped it in there and made it stick. But we're going to back it in with some fiberglass both sides, and that should be really nice. Alright, so getting ready to polish the stanchions. There's one, there's a before, and then here is an after. So between the two, one looks much better than the other. So these will be able to go on once the rainstorm passes this weekend. Monday afternoon we'll be able to put the lifelines all back on. Alright, so over the weekend I put my stanchions in. So they're now both in on both sides. Lifelines have been painted with some enamel to make them look a little newer. And we'll put the back on, the stern on maybe tomorrow. Rail installed. And there's the new lifelines. Well, not new. I just took them and sprayed them with some automotive enamel. Made them nice and white and made them look pretty clean. All the stanchions are back in. Got all our brackets back in. So, getting there. Starting to look like a boat. I just got to put these back on. Fiberglass is set up underneath for the new backing boards that I put in, so these will probably go on this afternoon. New winches, well, cleaned up winches.